Mayor, it's 5:30, Mayor.
All right. I'd like you all to ask you to join me in prayer. Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, be present with those who take counsel for the renewal and mission of your church. Teach us in all things to seek first your honor and glory. Guide us to perceive what is right, and grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome all of you to our meeting tonight. We're glad to have you here. This time, I'll call the meeting to order and begin with citizen communication. And Amanda, I think that we have two, Ms. Cruz and Ms. Arce, that want to speak on agenda item 4, so we'll wait and call them at the, I think that's public, for public comment. Can we do that? Sure. Call them on item number 4.
Okay, Mayor. So then, let me go ahead and follow with the next one, Mayor. Raymond Reyes, 706 Nantucket Drive. I don't know if he's, okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Mayor. Raymond Reyes, 706 Nantucket Drive. Again, I'm just here to reemphasize the positive things that should keep going. There's still a bit of lacking in some areas that I think over time should be addressed. One of those things I believe, and I'm kind of going through it, is not everybody in all the departments apparently seem to be on the same page on certain things, but it's always a work in progress. Some of those said departments are working with me, which is always a good thing and stuff. Hopefully we should have a positive outcome in the end, which I think we will. And there's a lot of other things that are going on within the city and stuff. But again, as long as we're making progress in the right direction, not just for certain individuals, but the citizens of Harlingen as a whole, I think it'll be beneficial for everybody in the long run. You can't always make everybody happy. I've realized this in business myself, but always putting your best foot forward will always hopefully give you the best outcome. And that's all I have. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you.
The next one is Ron Lozano, 2410 Riverside Drive.
Good afternoon. Baxter is Harlingen's tallest edifice. Mayor Boswell recently stated he championed its renovation. No, he consistently made efforts to raise the eyesore. He suggests Harlingen has a better rate of growth than McAllen or Brownsville or Edinburgh, or other cities in Hidalgo metropolitan area. But when he took office, only 2 of those cities had a larger population rather than 5. And projections are another city is soon to be larger if he remains. So facts being facts, we recognize 6 cities are eclipsing not only in population, but decent job creation. A breadwinner recognizes those issues. DHS pays more than 40%. Immediately after the forum he had with Ms. Sepulveda, I asked one of those people that serve in public safety, and he said, well, yes, everybody would try to provide for their family. And if you're getting 40% more to start, here in our area, there's a gravitation towards going towards the federal jobs. And that's been going on for 17 years. As he stated, his 4.4% rate. That doesn't really compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. An assertion that someone built at the airport and kept on building after building is unsubstantiated. His lack of veracity may be most telling. In a noble issue, he pushed in seizing smoking in bars. Most attributed this to his own family's suffering. So even where he's done well, because of this lack of veracity, he undercuts his own efforts. So hopefully we can get back to honoring the office of mayor, and it starts
2 minutes
by
are
setting
up.
an example like scouting. Thank you.
The next one is Mr. Sam Lozano. I don't know if he's here. Oh, hi, Mayor.
Mayor, welcome. We're glad to have you here.
Really? Do you really mean it? With a straight face, with a smile.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Well, in my many years being with the city and attending a few commission meetings, never did I witness what I witnessed on TV, actions or doings that happen here in this noble hall where people can exchange views without going to extremes of taking away something to communicate with, which was unbecoming of a city commission and definitely not that of a mayor. And I say mayor definitely because I myself served as many, not as many years as you as mayor, but I put my time that was needed to get things moving in this beautiful city of Harlingen. And at 66, a couple of people would ask, why are you still here? I said, well, there's still things that have to be done, and definitely under this administration, mainly the mayor, and this is who I'm speaking to. There was no need in going to extreme, as I witnessed on TV, and numerous people calling, do you tolerate those things? No, but
2
what
minutes
can
are
I
up.
do? What can I do? But here I am defending actions that were taken by the city commission and mainly the mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That's it, Mayor?
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is a proclamation proclaiming the week of April 11th through the 15th, 2022 as Community Development Block Grant Week. So if there are members of our CDBG board here, I'd like them to join me over here so they can receive this proclamation. All right, well, we get to do this every year, and I think it's important that we do it. Whereas the week of April 11th, 2022 has been designated as National Community Development Week by the National Community Development Association to celebrate the Community Development Block Grant Program and the Home Investment Partnership Home Program. And whereas the Community Development Block Grant Program has as its primary objective the development of viable urban communities by providing decent housing, a suitable living environment, and expanding economic opportunities, principally for persons of low and moderate income. And whereas the HOME program provides funding to local communities to create decent, safe, and affordable housing opportunities for low and moderate income persons. And whereas the City of Harlingen receives a direct allocation from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development annually to provide resources to a wide variety of community development activities and principally benefit low and moderate income persons, including the elderly and the children. Whereas in our community and in communities throughout the nation, 47 years of community development block Block Grant Program funding and 27 years of home program funding has developed a strong network of relationships among local governments, residents, businesses, and non-profit organizations. Now, therefore, I, Chris Boswell, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, do hereby proclaim the week of April 11th through April 15th as Community Development Block Grant Week in support of this valued program that has made a tremendous contribution to the viability of the housing stock, infrastructure, public services, and economic vitality for our community. So, congratulations to you all. I want to especially recognize our board members here tonight and all the board members on the CDBG board. You all spend countless hours every year going through a difficult process to determine how to allocate these funds. And we greatly appreciate your volunteer efforts and everything that you do to help in that process. It's not always an easy decision. Sometimes the city commission comes in here and second guesses you, but you all do a great job, a fantastic job, and we really appreciate everything that you all do.
Well, I'd like to acknowledge the staff also. You have an awesome, awesome staff. If it wasn't for the staff, we wouldn't be able to do our job.
Absolutely. Thank you. Congratulations. All right. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And then we're going to pass on, we've rescheduled the second proclamation and presentation, right?
Yes, sir. The coach could not be here. They're actually at another track meet, so they'll be back hopefully next week. Also, I'd like to have Craig Cook, our Assistant City Manager for External Services, introduce our new member to the staff, our City Engineer.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I'd like to introduce our new City Engineer, Luis Vargas. Luis comes to us from the City of Corpus Christi after about 10 years. He has a Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering, and he's currently working on finishing up a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering. He received his PE license in 2019 here in Texas, and I'd like you to welcome Luis. Luis, you want to say a few words?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Luis Vargas. I am originally from Brownsville, Texas. I was raised in Matamoros. I went to UT Pan Am, that was about 10 years ago. As you know, now is UTRGV. I, like Mr. Cook said, have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, a professional engineering license, and working towards an electrical engineering. And you might wonder, well, where's the civil engineering, right? So I worked with the City of Corpus Christi for about 10 years, and mainly in the water and wastewater departments. About half of my career there was in engineering services, where I had the opportunity to be involved in stormwater, streets, solid waste, and public facilities projects. I have family in the Valley. My wife has family in the Valley as well. We're very, very happy to be here. We're happy to be back home, and very excited about the job, and looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you very much.
All right, well, welcome to Harlingen. I'm glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Next item is the approval of the regular City Commission meeting minutes of November 17, 2021. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 3 is the consent agenda items A through I. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Item 4 is a public hearing to consider an ordinance on first reading to rezone from residential mobile home MH district to residential duplex R2 district for a 0.572 acre tract, being all of Lot 6 and 0.113 acres out of Lot 7, JH West subdivision, located at 1605 North 7th Street. Applicant Mario and Norma Linan. Javier?
Mayor, City Commissioners, good evening. This is our rezoning request at the corner of 7th Street and Village Avenue. This is across the street from Harlingen High School. And the request is to change the zoning from mobile home district to duplex. That's a survey of the property. There's a building, an existing building at the site. According to the applicant, it used to be a commercial building. That's the aerial photo. It shows the building that is located there, 7th Street, Village Drive, Harlingen High School, across the street. And these are the photos of the property from 7th Street and from Village Drive. The building is in disrepair. The applicants want to restore it and convert the building into a duplex. And that's the zoning. It's a mobile home district. There's a mobile home subdivision to the west, and then the rest is all single-family residential zoning, and then mobile home zoning to the south. In the land use plan, it calls for low-density residential. This is duplex zoning is in line with the comprehensive plan. We did receive a petition in opposition to the rezoning request that is in your packet. And it was, this map shows the property owners that signed the petition, which is mostly the subdivision catty corner from the property. But 7% of the notification area signed the petition. So that does not trigger a supermajority vote for the rezoning to go through. And that's the calculation for the petition. So it's 7% of the notification area. The Planning and Zoning Commission held the public hearing on March 23rd, evaluated the petition. No one spoke in opposition during the public hearing, and after some discussion with the applicants, they voted unanimously approval of the rezoning with a 5-0 vote.
So did you respond to the lady who was sending all the emails and the correspondence from the people that were in opposition of this?
Yes.
Because she specifically spoke to the fact that they could not attend the meetings because of the time of the meetings, and just because they couldn't attend the meeting and they couldn't vote, it doesn't mean that there wasn't opposition. And it's almost again, it brings you back to the. It brings me back to the issue we had with the F Street, and the recycling center, where you had people opposing. It was quite a bit of people, and the commission saying we need to listen to the community, listen to the people, and in just the emails that I got of the number of people that backed up the one particular lady that was in opposition of it. I don't know what the percentage of it is, or I don't know how you're defining the percentage. How are you coming up with that number if you go back to that map?
This is a subject property. So this is, the dashed line is 200 feet all around, right?
I'm sorry, say again?
The dashed line is 200 feet around the property.
Right.
So the state law says it's within the notification area. So these are the property owners that signed the petition within the notification area. And then we include half the right of way. So the calculations are based on the notification area, which is 7%. These people that signed the petition here and half the right of way here make up 7% of the entire notification area. Now, there are other people that signed the petition which are here, which you can use in making your decision, but for a supermajority vote as per state law, we only go by the notification area. But it's your prerogative.
So my question is, just to make sure that I'm remembering correctly, has this property tried to redo this before? And build something before, and they were in opposition? Is this the property that keeps trying to get
No,
rezoned?
the one, I think the one you're talking about is on Davis and third, Mr. Moody.
Okay, no, no, and Mr. Moody's on a different area, but this particular property, though, that we're talking about,
No.
the first time it's come up?
First time.
Okay. Okay.
So how many people signed a petition against this? You flashed it up there rather quickly.
I think you said there were 14.
I'm sorry, you said 14? Okay, yeah, I see it says 14, okay. You know, I'm the kind of guy that when, rarely does anybody oppose anything. But when 14 people sign up and say, we're against this, I believe I should listen to the people.
Yes, and that's your prerogative, so that you can, if you want to deny the rezoning based on the petition, that's your prerogative to do that.
Out of those 14, you said that there was only 3 property owners within the line.
Within the notification area, yes.
And going from mobile home to the residential is actually an improvement.
Well, I mean, so the zoning is mobile home district, so potentially a mobile home could be placed in the property. But it's, the existing building is not a mobile home.
Correct.
But it could be torn down and a brand new mobile home could be placed there. So the proposal is to have a duplex. So
A duplex
those are the things to consider. Is
a duplex with a pad? On a concrete pad, not a mobile home duplex?
Yes, if the zoning goes through, it will be a building with a foundation.
Okay, and for everybody here, is R1 residential or retail?
R1 is a single-family residential.
Okay.
But apparently there was a business there for many years.
Okay, so you said how many people within the dotted line?
3.
1, 2, 3.
3 people out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 30% of the people then opposed.
No,
Well, I mean, if you go by the number of properties, yes. But if you go by area, it's 7%.
Right, but if you go, so 30% of the people within that 200 feet line opposed it. And then did the other 70% of those people say, yes, go ahead and do it?
Well, not necessarily. They just didn't, the petition
No, so there were no affirmatives, there were 30% negatives.
Yeah, these 3 people signed the petition in opposition.
And I don't know if you got copied, Commissioner, on the emails, but that was one of the arguments in that thread was just because they didn't write about it, because they didn't have an opportunity to go to a meeting or whenever the meeting was held, doesn't mean they're not in opposition. They just didn't have an opportunity to speak.
Okay, well, let's go to the public hearing now, since we have two people who have signed up to speak on this issue. So I'll open the public hearing and call on Mr. Andy Cruz. Mr. Cruz, you signed up to speak on this matter. Telephone? Okay.
He wants to be called? Do I need to call him or he's here?
She indicated in the back that if you want to bring that, if you have a phone number for him, if you want to bring it up, Ms. Alessandro will give him a call.
You have to raise your hand. Hello, Mr. Cruz. This is Amanda Lizondo, City Secretary with the City of Harlingen, and you signed up to speak on item number 4, rezoning of the 1605 North 7th Street. We're in the public hearing now, so you have 2 minutes, and once your 2 minutes come up, I will let you know. You may start now.
Okay. The reason I'm not for it is because it raises a lot of crime in the area. My house has been broken into, and there's been other incidences where kids were caught that were from the area, back in that area where they have mobile homes. And I feel like if it's rental properties, it raises the crime in the area. And so we've had even the houses that have come up for rent here locally, one of the houses was used as a stash house. And so people that really don't own a place, they have nothing to lose if they get in any kind of trouble. And that's the kind of people that get attracted to places that, are rented out because they don't have nothing to lose as far as, what they leave behind or whatever. And so, but I mean, as neighbors here, we try to, look out for each other, and some of those kids have been caught, and the one kid that broke into the vehicle that I had in my house, that was his 6th time that he had been caught breaking into vehicles. And so that's my main concern as far as having any apartment complex or any kind of rental properties, is that it's going to attract the wrong kind of people. And right now it's stealing. It could be drugs, since the school is right there.
Mr. Cruz, your 2 minutes are up.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And then Ms. Alma Arce signed up, but it says she does not want to speak. Ms. Arce, do you want to speak? Well, please, you may. Please come forward if you do.
Good afternoon. Alma Arce. I live in the subdivision that is in question right across the street. I do have a change. The petition that was signed, I was able to get an additional homeowner to sign, and they are in that zone, which is that one in the corner. So we do have another person that is indicating that they do not want this to happen. Excuse me, I'm a little nervous. The first area right next across the street from the R1 that is across the home that is going to be changed, that's the only homeowner that actually lives in his home. Everybody else from the MH down, they all have renters. So we couldn't get them to sign the petition because those are not the homeowners, so we couldn't get secure that information. I do have the amended petition here, so if anybody wants that, I can hand that off to whoever needs to get that.
Javier, would you take that from her, please? And
I do want to say that we are all opposed to having this spot zoning variance. The classic definition is that it's a singling out of a parcel for the sole benefit of the owner that is requesting the change. And that's exactly what's going to happen in this area. The individual would change it from a mobile home residential 1 to duplex, and the only benefit is going to be to them increasing the money that they receive. The other individuals from MH down would potentially see that change and change their designation as well, changing the environment. So you're asking us to approve the change on the one that's going to affect the neighborhood. And there's no way anybody in that subdivision that I've spoken to is willing to accept that change. So I hope you'll take that into consideration when you make your decision. Thank you.
all right, thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak for or against this rezoning request? Yes, please, ma'am, please come to the podium and state your name and give us your residence address.
Yes. Hello.
And you'll have 2 minutes, okay?
Normally none. Colm Street, 1160 Colm Street in San Benito. I am the applicant along with Mario, yes, and we're the ones who are trying to turn this into a duplex. Yes, it is mobile home. I think we could really make this place look really beautiful. It's not the first time we've done that. We have pictures that we can show you of homes that we've done just like this. We've turned them into beautiful homes. It's not the first time that we've done it here in Harlingen. And wouldn't you rather see a beautiful home there than just another mobile home? I know the speaker that called in said there was crime in the mobile homes and they caught those people there in the mobile homes. This will not be a mobile home. It's gonna be a beautiful duplex. If you'd like to see pictures of the ones that we've done and how the house looked before and how we turned it into a beautiful, beautiful home that will beautify the neighborhood, we do have that available for y'all. Really, that's all I can say, unless you want to say something.
I mean, I can answer questions. You know, we've been doing this for years. I have a remodeling company since 2002, and we've picked up several homes from San Benito, Brownsville, and we've come back to Harlingen because Harlingen seems to work better with us.
Yes.
And we make them, we updated them 100%, and we go by the code. I mean, we get permits and everything, you know, we go by the code. So it's nothing new to us. We've done this for years, and I think this is a good opportunity in that area since it's in front of the school.
Also, that lot hasn't been sold. It's been like that, run down for years. You'll continue to see it like that unless someone does something.
Can we show you guys some pictures?
We have.
Or y'all?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak for or against this rezoning request? Is there anyone? Okay. Hearing no one, I'll close the public hearing and go to item B and ask the city attorney to read the caption.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen, rezoning from residential mobile home MH district to residential duplex R2 district for a 0.572 acre tract, being all of Lot 6 and 0.113 acre out of Lot 7, JH West subdivision, located at 1605 North 7th Street, applicants Mario and Norma Linnell.
Okay. Is there a motion? Is there a motion by anyone to adopt the ordinance?
Motion.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed?
Opposed.
All right. The motion carries. I think, right?
How many was there?
Two.
There were two opposed.
Two opposed?
Uribe
You need a
and
supermajority, right?
No.
No, you don't, okay. So then, yeah, you have a majority.
two opposed, Uribe and Mesmar. All right, item 5, public hearing to consider an ordinance on first reading to rezone from residential single-family R1 district to residential duplex R2 district for Lot 1, Block 1, Harlingen Expressway subdivision, Section 3, located at 1202 North T Street, applicant Maria Victoria Laredo.
Mayor, this is a similar request to the previous one, but in this one, no petition has come in, and as of now, nobody has been in opposition to this rezoning from single-family residential to duplex zoning. This is at the corner of T Street and Lafayette. This is the aerial photo. This is kind of an older neighborhood. It's an industrial area to the west. Apparently, the property had a mechanic shop for many years, even though the zoning is single-family residential. Clearly there was a mechanic shop there for many years. And that's the photo of the property showing the old mechanic shop that is stopped operations. Ms. Laredo recently acquired the property, and she would like to build a duplex at the site. And that's the zoning. It's all single-family residential to the north and south and east, and industrial to the west.
So, can I ask you a question right there? How is that allowed to happen? You go back to the previous slide.
The mechanic shop?
How is that allowed to happen if
could
they're
have
not
been,
supposed to be doing business like that?
It could have been that it was there before the zoning ordinance. I'm not sure.
Okay, because I'd like to know the answer to that. You know,
I can look into it.
If somebody's doing business and it's like nobody bothers them, if they're in a neighborhood and they're not doing business property.
He was a good mechanic, and the neighborhood liked him. I can I can look into it. I can look into it,
So it's
Commissioner.
okay for him not to do the right thing?
Well, I think what
No, I mean,
probably happened.
no, I mean, you brought it up. So does that mean you would look away and
No.
let him do his thing?
What probably happened, he was there before the zoning ordinance.
Okay, but I'd like to get that answered.
Yes.
We can find out.
Because that comment makes me think, maybe, did you know the guy, or,
No.
Is that the way you operate?
No.
Okay, because that's unfortunate.
But it's something that you didn't know.
No.
And that, in that picture on the right, is that part of the property, that house that's in the back?
No, it's, the house in the back
It's
is a
something
separate
else.
property.
Okay, so then, like you had said, the mechanic operated there before the
But
ordinance
frankly,
was
if you look at the
changed.
property, it's not like he's doing it hidden either.
No, I know, but the point, to his point, it was something that was done before the city had changed the ordinance to residential.
So to my question is, code enforcement, do they not routinely monitor the city? Are they not looking at neighborhoods? Are they not, I mean, surely we had some kind of incident that they had to go out there for something.
My guess is that mechanic shop was there before the zoning ordinance, because otherwise, how will they get a building permit for something like that?
But he's no longer there.
Did they even ask for a permit, right?
Well, it's a building with a
Because like you say,
foundation.
maybe he knew somebody, right? Maybe the guy who is issuing permits didn't require him to do a permit, right?
I can look into it and try to find the history.
We'll get some answers for you, Commissioner.
Okay, Javier, are you through with your presentation, or you're
Yes.
not, right? You need to
Yes,
continue.
I'm finished.
Please continue.
And Planning and Zoning Commission considered the request and recommended approval. Because there's no opposition.
All right. That concludes your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to the public hearing then. I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone who'd like to speak for or against this rezoning? If you, please come forward and come to the podium and just state your name and your residence address. And
My name is Paris Cox. My address is 19283 FM 508, just outside of Combs. It's easy fix on that one. All you got to do is get on CCAD, Cameron County Appraisal District, and it'll tell you when that building was built. And that'll tell you if it was built within the time frame of when it was rezoned. That's an easy fix. Thank you.
all right, thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak for or against the rezoning? All right, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and go to item B and ask the city attorney to read the caption.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen, rezoning from residential single-family R1 district to residential duplex R2 district for Lot 1, Block 1, Harlingen Expressway subdivision, Section 3, located at 1202 North T Street, applicant Maria Victoria Laredo.
All right, is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries. Item 6 is a public hearing to consider an ordinance on first reading to rezone from residential single-family R1 district to residential multifamily M2 district for 15.99 acres out of Block 5, 7, and 9, Stuart Place subdivision, located on the northeast corner of Stuart Place Road and Brenneman Street. Applicant is Ambiotech, care of Raul Villanueva.
Yes, Mayor. This is
Javier?
at the northeast corner of Stuart Place Road and Brenneman Road, south of the expressway. It's a vacant property. And that's the aerial photograph. The developer is proposing garden homes and duplexes in Block 9. That's a photo of the property. The zoning is a single-family residential with commercial zoning to the north. Land use plan is called for low density residential. Stuart Place is a collector roadway in the Torfer plan, which can handle the additional traffic. This went before Planning and Zoning Commission, and they recommended approval unanimously with a 5-0 vote. No one spoke in opposition.
Okay. I'll go to the public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak for or against this rezoning? Is there anyone? Hearing no one, I'll close the public hearing and go to item B and ask the city attorney to read the caption.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen, rezoning from residential single-family R1 district to residential multifamily M2 district for 15.99 acres at a blocks 5, 7, or 9 Stuart Place subdivision located in the northeast corner of Stuart Place Road and Brenneman Street. Application Ambiotech Group, care of Raul Villanueva.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
All right, is there any discussion? A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Item 8, consideration of possible action to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Lifeline Heart of Worship to lease the Harlingen Municipal Auditorium beginning May 8, 2022 until April 30th, 2023 for an amount.
You
I
skipped
think
7.
we're going to number 7. I think we
skipped
skipped
number
number 7.
Item 7.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Item 7, public hearing to consider an ordinance on first reading to amend the existing special use permit issued to Jesus Pena for an adult business in a general retail GR district to allow the expansion of Sir's Martini Lounge located at 309 West Van Buren Avenue, bearing the legal descriptions lot 7 and 8, block 67, Harlingen Original Townsite Subdivision, applicant Jesus Pena.
Yes.
Javier.
Mayor, this is an existing bar in the downtown area called the Sir's Lounge, and they've been very successful, and they would like to expand the bar. So this is where they are now, and they would like to expand to 311 and double in size. Staff recommends approval, limited to 1 year, hours of operation Monday through Wednesday, 3 p.m. to 12 a.m., Thursday and Saturday, 3 p.m. to 2 a.m., and Sundays, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Provision of security officer during peak hours, Thursday through Saturday, 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Video surveillance, 30-day retention, adequate lighting, proper state permits, and compliance with the smoking ordinance, and all compliance to the requirements from the different city departments. This went before the Planning and Zoning Commission. No one spoke in opposition, and they recommended approval unanimously, subject to the list of conditions.
All right, let's go to the public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who'd like to speak for or against this rezoning, or this special use permit, rather?
Hello, my name is Jesus Pena, 201 West Fillmore, Harlingen. I am the owner of Sir's Martini Lounge, and I'm requesting for your approval for the expansion. 2.5 years ago, when we opened, we had no idea that it would be as successful as it's been. We are currently, we were interviewed as one of the best bars in the valley. So I mean, I think for Harlingen, that's a pretty good thing, or for the valley. So I ask that you all please approve this expansion. Thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak for or against this specific use permit? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Carmina Peña Mojdehi, 1460 North Bowie, and I have the proof here where he was being interviewed. Just so y'all don't say we're lying. The best bar in the Rio Grande.
Thanks.
He's being interviewed by KBO and Channel 4, which I guess is owned by them, and it's for the best bar in the Rio Grande.
Well, Mr. Benya, I'd like to mention that, you know, I remember that property when you took it over. And I'm, you know, as a business owner myself, I thought you were nuts, right? but whoever handles your decor, it's very eclectic. I mean, that takes a certain talent, certain skill set, and you've really done well. And people don't realize how hard of a business that is. And then to suffer, you know, go through the pandemic and do that, and to see you thrive, and to bring that to downtown, I really applaud you, because that's some really hard work. So congratulations.
Okay. Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak for or against the SUP?
I just wanted to say something about this new business expansion. I'm the owner of the 2 blocks over there, close to the new business, Martini bar. And I have questions about the safety of the people that live close to the place where they wanted to expand. Are they gonna protect those people that live there? Because there's business there, but there are some people that live there too. And about parking lot, if it is gonna be enough parking lot for all the business right there in Van Buren.
2 minutes are up.
Okay.
And that's my question
All
that
right.
I have, just to protect the people, for the business, to protect the residents that live there, and for to be enough parking lot for everybody, for the businesses there. Then to be no fights, for parking, and then because a few times people, they're aggressive when they drink. Sometimes they throw stuff into the to the neighbors, like glass bottles and stuff like that. We just want, like, if something like that happen, if we go to the owner of the business, if we can work it out for them to take care of the situations, and for us to come together to take care of the people that gets, like, drunk and come outside, and that they don't go and destroy
Okay.
nothing to the and to the other side. I can barely speak English. I'm sorry.
All right, I think we I'm not, I think you set the 2 minutes on the lady before, and you didn't, and we didn't restart it
Maybe so,
on
Mayor.
her. But I think probably by now you've used your 2 minutes, so.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, so if you want to wrap it up,
Okay, so now
if you have anything else you want to say, just finish up.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay, thank you,
sir.
ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, so is there anyone else who would like to speak for or against this special use permit?
Yes, my name's Raymond Reyes. I've known Jesse for probably maybe 45 years, since we had moved down to the valley back and forth. I think it's a good thing what SERS is doing. We, at our particular location, have been there since 1976. What he's done, like the commissioner stated, is a big improvement. It's a very well done, and I think it's a good thing for the expansion. And we really haven't had issues like we did way back in the day. A lot of things have changed down there, and I think that he's bringing another positive aspect. And to get noticed like that is a big plus for Harlingen. And I hope other businesses are recognized, because, there's a lot of good things here in Harlingen, and they just need to be showcased a little bit more. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else who would like to speak for or against this specific use permit?
Good evening. I came in for one thing and I end up doing something else now. My name's Elaine Flores. It's so easy for us to criticize what the commission, the mayor and the commission are doing, but I think in this case, well, in everything, it's the people that need to take the responsibility of contributing to the community. And when we say the word bar, we have a negative connotation to it. But in this case, I honestly believe that this is an upscale bar, okay? And this is exactly what Harlingen needs, especially downtown Harlingen needs. It's an improvement in that side of town. And they have really done an awesome job. It's, I hate to say this, it sounds terrible, but it's the type of professional people that they're bringing into the bar. It is a very different from, as it was said earlier, the type of bars that used to be there. And as far as I can see from what they're saying, they're adding security, they're adding other things. that addressed the concern of this lady of the protection, the crime element, and all of that. I think they're addressing it, and I think SIR's extending is awesome. I think the recognition they've received is very well merited, and I think if you all would be in favor of it, it's in addition to downtown Harlingen growing, as so many of us in the city of Harlingen are expecting for Harlingen to do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, is there anyone else who'd like to speak for or against the specific use permit?
Jesus Peña, 201 West Fillmore. To address the young lady's concerns, we do have off-duty officers that work the weekends, Fridays and Saturdays, so we haven't had one issue. They're at the lounge. HPD also does their routine checks. I mean, they've been in there. We've never had an issue. So, I mean, I don't foresee any issues coming up with the expansion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pena.
Thank you for your time.
Anyone else would like to speak for or against?
I have one more thing to add. Also, as far as residents, there's only one home that is directly to the right, and that's the only place that hosts a person that's renting there. Everything else is business, and from my understanding, there shouldn't be any people living in those businesses. So there's only one resident that we know of. And then as far as the parking, there is the city parking, which is right across the street to the left side of the business. So there's plenty of parking.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak for or against this SUP? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing now and go to item B and ask the city attorney to read the caption.
This is still 7?
7, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen to issue an amendment to the existing special use permit, Ordinance 2019-12, to Jesus A. Pena to allow the expansion of a bar lounge in a general retail GR district located at 309 West Van Buren, bearing a legal description of lots 7 and 8, Block 67, Harlingen Original Town Site, subject to the conditions outlined in the body of the ordinance.
Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I just wanted to reiterate what Richard said, is I've been to Jesse's establishment several times, many times. And I think it is a great thing that you've done there at SIRS, the atmosphere, the decorations, everything. And I strongly agree with what the lady just said, that you've helped revitalize that area. And the only complaint I had about your location was it wasn't big enough. And you're doing that right now, and I just want to congratulate you on this.
You said you wanted tacos.
Huh?
You wanted them to make tacos, open a kitchen.
That too. No, but but I congratulate you on this. I think you're doing a wonderful job, and I'm looking forward to how the new expansion is going to look. And I'm happy for you. Congratulations.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Mr. Pena, again, congratulations on the success of your business, and we're very proud to have it in our downtown. It's a great addition. Thank you.
The mayor, Jesse, the mayor's going to take us there after the meeting, just letting you know. A big table.
Okay. All right. Now we can go to item 8. Consideration of possible action to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Lifeline Heart of Worship to lease the Harlingen Municipal Auditorium beginning May 8th, 2022 until April 30th, 2023 for an amount of $62,900. Josh?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. We're asking that you allow us to enter into an agreement with Lifeline Heart of Worship. This will be for 1 year for the total amount of $62,900. The monthly rate is $1,200 times the 48 times you'll be using it is $57,600. Plus there's a concession fee of $100 times 48 times you can be using it, totals $4,800. That brings to $62,400 plus the $500 deposit, total to $62,900. We recommend approval of this item.
Mayor, one of the differences in this lease is that he is by far our largest renter of the auditorium. And so what he's asking to do is to leave his equipment there when it's not in use. And if we happen to rent out the auditorium, that he would move his equipment, and we just have to call him. So we would create an agreement that says we would not be responsible for any loss of equipment or damage to it when it's there, and he's not using the building. That would be the only difference between this particular lease and any other lease we would have with anybody else.
Very good. Anybody have any questions about this?
Yeah, I'm guessing this will be on Sundays?
Yes, sir. It's on Sundays.
From what time to what time?
I don't know the times.
More or less.
The applicant's here. I think he wanted to speak as well.
Yes, please come forward and
Good evening, Commission. Good evening. Thank you for having us. So service times, we usually have 3 services in San Benito. Here, we would only have 2 services. We'd probably get there as early as 7 or 8, and then probably leave later than, 12, 1, 2, 3. So it's within the 10-hour limit that usually is the rental agreement. The question I had is, I saw on the notes, is that the date is wrong, though. It's still a year, but it actually wouldn't start till August of this year, because I've already spoken with Sylvia and Stephanie. They already have some reservations there, so we didn't want to start till August, and then it carried over until June of next year. That being said, we're in a building project on Grimes. We're the people that own the former Teachers Credit Union and the property in front of it, and so we're only seeking the auditorium for the sake of until we build it. So we're hoping that after this year, we're willing to, I don't know if the city manager mentioned this or not, we're willing to pay that up front. We've got no problem with that. We don't want any handouts or anything like that. Over $400,000 has come into the city through our 9-year lease with the auditorium. We just look to keep doing business with you all. We just want some freedom and some stability to be able to come in and out and not feel like we're kind of trapped in a box. We have a 2,000-member church, and we're just looking to keep growing, sir.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? Do we need to make the note of that change in the dates, or?
I think, Mayor, the only really issue we wanted to have the commission address was the fact that he would leave his equipment there, but that we would come up with a separate agreement that would not hold us accountable for any loss or damage to the equipment.
Yeah, because the issue, I think, was the labor it takes to tear down and then build it back up when there's no need. If the building's not being occupied, it makes no sense. And I think the fact that they leased the auditorium for 9 years prior, never had an issue. It's obviously a great congregation. They do a lot of good in our community. And then obviously, as long as we have clear communication of if an event comes in, we give them a notice. They do have to remove their stuff, and they remove it at the time that they need to. I think that's a reasonable.
Sorry to interrupt, Commissioner. Is the liability issue, sir? We have our own insurance, and we cover all the property, so we would have no problem doing any of that. That's what we used to do. That's what we do right now in San Benito. To say about the date, my only concern is that when we came in, when Joel was on board, they would always tell us, you're going to create some kind of a seniority with us as we keep moving forward. But we kept getting pushed out. And so that's why I'm wondering if paying in advance for a year, I checked with Ms. Stephanie, she can verify, they literally have nothing from August of this year to next year. There's really no reason to bump us out. I mean, that's my main concern, is because it's very hard to just kind of pack up and go or move. We were using the Casa de Amistad to fix that. Sometimes we would go to MMA, we would go outdoors to our Grimes building. We just want some stability, and like I said, we're willing to pay for it. We've got no problem with it. It's not like we're asking for a free Sunday.
Mayor, we don't normally bring contracts to the commission for use, but I think we can acknowledge that the dates that he requested are available, and we'll make those available to him through the contract.
Mayor, if the commission wished to approve this, they could approve it subject to another agreement where they would have sole responsibility and provide insurance.
Well, we're just authorizing, the action is to authorize the city manager to enter into the contract.
For a year, yes.
Okay, and with the circumstances which have been described, and you will work the details of the contract out.
Yes, sir. I've already talked to Mark about that. So.
Okay. Is there a motion to?
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. All right. Thank you. Item number 9 is consideration and possible action to approve a facility use agreement between the City of Harlingen and the TYFA Wolfpack to use one of the fields at the Wilson Sports Complex and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
Good
Yes, sir.
afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon, Commissioners. So we're bringing this item to the commission to see if we can get them approved for a temporary facility usage agreement. What happened is TIFA is requesting to use the open fields at the Harlingen Sports Complex. They do have the required insurance. The Parks Advisory Board in 21 had approved them for a facility use agreement. We were made aware that they did not have their 501c, not-for-profit, so they rescinded the agreement September 2021. Since then, the TIFA Youth has submitted their applications for their 401c, so they're just pending to receive that. So what was recommended by the Parks Advisory Board was that we would allow them to hold practices at those fields up until August, I think was the date that we gave them, because they're 6 months is usually what it takes for them to receive the 501c. So that's what we're recommending, is to allow them the use for practices, and then for any organized games or tournaments, they would still continue to rent the facilities at Victor Park from the Parks Department.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, what's TYFA?
TIFA?
Texas Youth Football.
Yeah. It's the Texas Youth Football Association.
Okay, so this will be football?
It's a football, yeah.
Not soccer football,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
football. Okay.
Yes.
Why did it take so long to apply and get this 501c? What's the holdup?
The holdup, well, originally, David mentioned that they weren't aware that they needed to have their 501c, because TIFA, apparently as an organization, has a 501c that they kind of blanket all of their different regions, but we needed one specifically for their organization because they're going to be based out of Harlingen. So there was a bit of a confusion between us and between the department and between the TIFA youth.
And I think that the permit comes from the Texas, or where do you get the permit? For what he was talking about, why is? Yeah, the 501.
IRS.
So that's the holdup.
We submit for it, and there's a 6-month waiting period until they can get approval. So that's why we're waiting for August, so we can get that approval. So we've submitted our tracking numbers and all the things that you can look up our application through the website, but they're all in pending status.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to form a 501c3 with a nonprofit corporation, but it is increasingly difficult to get the IRS designation.
Correct.
It is really getting, it's really getting hard. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's why we would recommend that we give them to August, because that would meet 7 months, which usually it's 6 months period for them to
Okay.
get it.
Yeah. Anybody have any other questions about this?
How long have you had this football team?
So I've been operating within the city of Harlingen, David Gonzalez, 702 Drive. But I've been operating in the city of Harlingen with the youth for 14 years now. We opened our organization 5 years ago, and we've been here in the city of Harlingen. Now, previously, we don't charge for our practices or anything like that, so we would operate in the parks and open spaces, wherever the open spaces were, we'd show up, have our practices, and when we had game days, we would go into contracts with the city of Harlingen and pay for, Victor Park or whatever field that we were gonna be renting out. This year, apparently something changed within the parks that open spaces need contracts to practice on. So we're actually the very first org that's being asked for this. So I'm sure a lot more is going to be coming to you, because overall these years, all the coaches in the area that work with the youth, we just kind of go to the park with our teams, we practice, and when we need to rent something to play, we would go to the city and rent the facilities from you guys. But with this going forward, we've always been in close contact with them. So when we found out this was going on, we're like, okay, well, what do we need to do to make sure that we're operating properly inside the city, because we've never had any issues or problems with you guys.
Is this the only team that has issues?
No, sir.
No, we're just the only ones being told
You
right
mean
now
as,
that we have to.
Let me ask you.
do you mean as far as what?
This 501c3, is he the only one that has issues with this, getting the acceptance from the IRS? In other words, do the other teams that have teams out here in Harlingen, that are practicing, that play in Harlingen, do they all have this 501c3?
Yes, sir. If they have a facility usage agreement with the Parks Department, yes.
With the exception of him?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I can speak real quick, so what he's saying, with the facility usage agreement, yeah, there is 501c3s, but there's a whole lot of teams that operate in Harlingen that use the open spaces that aren't asked or being required to hold it. But we're being told in order to operate, we need the facility agreement. Like, in other words, we can't use the park unless we have it. Where the other teams that are out there.
May I ask why we're asking teams to, if they're practicing on public property and not holding the game, if they're just using the facility for what it was intended for, why are we asking them to get a permit?
As far as teams that are using open spaces,
Correct.
we don't ask them to get to have a 501c unless they're having organized activities. So if they're collecting any kind of money, if they're having organized practices as an actual organization, if they're having scrimmage games, or if they're hosting games. The thing that happened is that we received a report that they were out, that the type of youth was holding a, what do you guys call it, a sports camp or a football camp, and they were issuing free haircuts, registering kids for their program. So at that point, they're holding a business.
So what's the difference between that and a athletic trainer or a personal trainer taking people out to the parks and working them out, giving them a routine, and collecting money? Hold on. I want to answer.
As far as you're asking,
what is the difference between that?
There's no difference. They should also be required to have a 501c. The only thing is the policing of it is a little.
There's several people that do that, right?
Yeah, so it's tough to police.
And I don't think we're asking them for a 501c, right?
When it gets brought to our attention, yes.
Well, so, the parks, I mean, that's what, I mean, even when we played sports, you almost make it, I understand the fields, or, whether it's National Bronco, Texas Bronco, because those fields, that's game day, that's a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
But even our schools, Travis Elementary, Zavala, all those places have people practicing and doing that stuff. That's what I think our city should provide. I don't think we should be asking them to do a permit. As long as they're not trying to sue us for injury or stuff like that. I get that, but that's what the parks are built for, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we brought that to the Parks Advisory Board already, and that's the route that we're going, is to modify the policy, right, to where anything in open spaces.
And I
We've
think-
reached out to several other cities as well to see kind of what it is that they do and how do they go about dealing with open space.
Because
I think-
it's almost impossible to police or be fair.
Right, and I think the reason we have these agreements is because it gives them exclusive use of the field. And right now, there's competing teams that want to have access to that field. We saw that with the soccer fields, and
Man, I got dropped off at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning to go get a pavilion when I was like 8 years old, to make it so we could have a birthday party. And it was like first come, first serve, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Or we
all right.
got dropped off at school, right? That's the way it was.
There's confusion. There's a team doesn't have to have a 501c. The organization has to have it. So that's what we're talking about.
Right.
Not separate teams. That's what the point I was trying to make. So now we're asking for the organizations to come up with the 501c, so it protects them and the city. So
Yes, because
It's
that
not
team is
individual
not affiliated
teams.
with
Right.
an organization in the city that has a contract, correct?
Right.
Okay, yes, sir, if you have something you'd like to,
Yes, sir. I'm actually with both organizations. I'm with the Texas Youth Football Association. I'm also part of David's organization with the Wolfpack. So as far as I know, I'm sure you can answer this. David Gonzalez is the only one of the youth sports that actually has up-to-date, that meets Harlingen standards insurance.
No, that's not correct.
Because I know the soccer league doesn't. I know for a fact they don't.
They've already submitted their request, they're just waiting to get it back, but they've updated they didn't have it because we
David's
changed
had it,
the
and
requirements.
It was the soccer team that did it because he sits on the board of the Parks and Rec.
But there's
So,
several other leagues and they all have
David is
that
trying
required
to do this
insurance.
correctly, and as part of TIFA as well, we supply the insurance. We are the ones that gave him the insurance that lets it go above and beyond.
okay.
As he should state as well, David is practicing in an open space. It is not confined by fence, but on one side, and that is what is on Wilson. So that, according to definition, is an open space. not asking for Victor Park that is completely enclosed. He's asking for an open space. All he's asking for, honestly, is your approval in this city. He's already applied for his 501c3. He's applied for everything that's been requested. They have tracking numbers that track it and can say, yes, it's in the process, and as Mr. Boswell stated, the IRS, anybody that's dealt with them knows, it's not fast.
This is just to approve an agreement, correct?
And this agreement.
Right, and that's the only thing that's before us. We're not, the overall policy, everybody else's status is not really before us. What's before us is whether we're going to approve this facility use agreement with TYFA.
And it gives them exclusive use of that field. That's what
Okay.
it's for.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for what you're doing with the kids out there. We appreciate that. Appreciate that. Okay, Item 10, consideration of possible action to reallocate the second round of American Rescue Plan Act 2021 funding expected to be received by mid-May 2022.
Mayor, members of the commission, I just want to go over a recap real quick of what's going to be happening in the next month or so. This is just a recap of what we did last year and the funding that we spent. To date, we've spent about $4.7 million. We still have about $6.1 million that needs to be spent, mostly on drainage projects. For this year, the City Commission allocated $10 million for the waterworks for infrastructure improvements, and they've started submitting billing for that, so that's going to start going out pretty soon. But what I wanted to talk about was another $963,000 that we're going to be allocating to the city for revenue losses. Once we take that into the city, I would like in turn to allocate that money for a fire truck for the fire department. They're in desperate need of another one. Well, they're in need of another one. And so I'd like to actually use that to actually place an order. The orders are running several months behind schedule, so I'd like to get that order as soon as we receive the funding.
Are we going to have another workshop to discuss these allocations and stuff, or an update on that? Or can we have one?
That's up to the commission.
Because I'd like to discuss that $10 million that we approved for the waterworks.
We can. I would just ask the commission to.
Well, I mean, you can poll the commission. I just think it's something we need to revisit and every dollar that we approve, right? Make sure that we spend it the right way and going forward of exactly what you just planned.
Right. Water and sewer projects are one of the eligible activities to use it on. It's limited as to what you can use the funding on.
Right. Because, I know we've discussed this where, like the broadband stuff, if a company like AT&T is willing to do it for us, why would we spend the money and we can reallocate those grant monies in other places? Because my biggest issue with like a broadband thing, and we bear the cost, we're going to bear the maintenance. And we don't have that kind of money, in my opinion, to see that long term. So
right now we don't have any money set aside for construction.
But we spend money on a study.
Right.
To go into that direction.
Yes.
And then from my understanding, the ones that went in that direction, wish they didn't go in the direction, right? Those cities.
Well, I mean, I think, we had, I thought, agreed and taken action to allocate the $10 million to the waterworks for.
That was before I found out they put a bunch of money into a bank where they had extra cash.
But that was to what the mayor's talking about. Didn't we discuss that at the first?
Yeah, the first allocation, yes.
Okay.
What we didn't talk about was the revenue losses and what that was going to be used towards, and that's what I wanted to
I had a quick question. What are the revenue? I don't understand. What's the revenue losses? What does that mean?
Those are because you weren't able to rent some of your facilities, because there was a downturn in the economy. You weren't able to get a lot of revenue. That's what that's for. To cover that.
Like, for example, the church that was here, they were renting out the auditorium, so we lost revenue when we shut the auditorium down by not being able to collect on that.
So that's going to be a funding source that's going to be given to the city, and so we can reallocate that to other sources, but there are only limited sources you can use that towards, and a fire truck is one of them. And so I'd like to do that.
How much is the fire truck?
They run about $800 to $1 million, depending on what kind of features you want. So the majority of that money is going to go towards the fire truck. Now, we did send that information to Hollis Rutledge, so he knows that we're looking for one. But right now, as far as the infrastructure bill goes, I don't know if there's going to be funding for fire trucks there. But if there are, obviously we can use this for something else. But shop having any money allocated for that?
But we can still approve this and then make the changes later?
Yes, sir.
If
But
we have
this was just an update on the on the 963. The commission had already taken action on the 10 million last year. So
Okay.
But we can revisit it, right?
yes, you can.
Yeah. So
You can.
motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Are you gonna outline where you plan on putting those revenue losses?
Yeah, fire truck.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
Yeah, fire
you
truck,
just said that, I'm sorry.
Okay, all those in favor? Any other discussion?
Gang, right here, up here.
Oh, sorry.
I want to make sure that I understand this. Help me out. You want to take some of that 10 million and apply that for a fire truck?
No, the revenue losses, the $963,000.
Just that?
Just that, yes.
Okay.
Okay?
You understand the 10 million,
Any other
right?
questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. All right, that's a good use of that money. All right, item 11, consideration possible action to approve the installation of street bumps at the following streets: Trackstar Way between Bass Boulevard and Irrigation Ditch, Vista Verde West and Vista Verde East from Vista Verde North to Murphy Drive, Beckham Road between Drury Road and King Sago Court, 200 block of West Lincoln, 400 block of West Taft, 3700 block of Arroyo Vista Court, 1200 block of West Hayes before the 90-degree turn.
These are streets that were submitted by 2 commissioners, so we can start the process of running our totals under the new ordinance that was adopted. So staff recommends approval.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion?
The only thing I wanted to point out was that I already spoke to Craig about, I'd already made this before I spoke to you. So the one we spoke to on the, which one was it? On Beckham, right? Beckham. That's the only one that I understood that they don't qualify because they don't have the drainage ditches, correct?
Craig Cook, Assistant City Manager for External Services. They don't have curbs and gutter.
Yes, that's what I meant, yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Any street, per the ordinance, any street that does not have curb and gutter won't qualify for a speed hump, because we don't want to encourage drivers to avoid the speed hump by driving down into the ditch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
Pretty good policy.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 12, consideration possible action to approve addition of Article 2, Section 2-22, scheduling of the State of the City address to the Harlingen Code of Ordinances.
Mayor, there's some issues with that I'd like to address. I'd ask that the meeting, that this issue be tabled and brought back at the next meeting.
Okay. Motion to table.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 13, board appointments.
I have none.
I have one, Mayor. I inadvertently appointed Diana Esparza to the Parks Advisory Board. She was already on there, but she meant to give me the name of the person I want to appoint, so it'll be Nora Garcia, I believe. And I think she's already submitted her paperwork, so that'll be my only appointment.
I got one. Robert Ethwick for Dr. Burke from the EDC.
Oh, I think Dr. Burke still has still in the middle of her term, so you would have to remove her.
I asked her. I did ask her.
Still have to remove. She's still in the middle of her term. You have to remove her. She hasn't resigned.
Then I make a motion to remove Dr. Burke from the EDC.
But that's not on the agenda. That's not on the agenda.
Yeah.
It's a board appointment.
Down here, it's on the agenda. All right, there's a motion to remove Dr. Burke from the EDC board.
No, I don't understand why you would remove an educated professional, active in the city from the EDC board.
Very simple.
Is there a second?
Second. Well, she was already okay with it, right?
Hmm?
Second.
No, she wasn't okay with it.
Well, according to Commissioner Morales, she's okay with it.
I didn't understand that. Is that a second?
Yes.
All right, well, this idea of removing people prematurely, and she's in the middle of her term as chairman, removing people from their positions, I think is, it has a chilling effect on people willing to step up and volunteer to serve on these boards, because it's sort of a slap in the face, if you will, to be removed in the middle of your term. And I think that it's not something that we should make a practice of, removing people from the EDC board or any other board, for that matter, while they're still in the middle of a term. Dr. Burke is, genuinely beloved by so many people in this community that I think it would be set a bad precedent. So I would encourage you not to remove Dr. Burke from the board.
I agree with what you're saying about we shouldn't remove, middle term, but I want to correct you. Actually, according to the website, the EDC, Dr. Burke's term ends actually next month in May. So she's not in the middle of her residency as on the EDC or anything like that you're making it seem. And it is within Commissioner Morales' right it is his pick. And if he chooses to appoint someone else, that is his right. I understand that, Mike, I understand you don't like it because Robert Leftwich was your opponent in the election and you guys don't have a good relationship. But ultimately, it is his choice.
You know nothing about my relationship with anybody.
Ultimately, it is the commissioner's choice.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Ultimately, it's the commissioner's choice, and I think we've never, I don't think any of us have ever been opposed to any of your picks. So I think we should go ahead and approve because it is his choice.
I think you're wrong about her term.
Actually, it's right here on the website. Feel free to look.
But the records over at the EDC are apparently different.
Well, actually, because I think they've actually been doing a good job because I appointed Rudy Martinez just recently, and they already updated his information on the website. So I think they're actually doing a good job on that. But again, maybe I am wrong, maybe you're right, but I'm just going by what the website is saying on the city website. And I think that's maybe something we should look into, Gabe, of making sure that all the appointments on the city website are updated so we can see for sure, like, if it's updated or not.
All right, is there any other discussion on this? All those in favor of removing Dr. Burke from the EDC board, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Opposed.
All right, now, Commissioner, you want to make your appointment?
Yes, I would like to appoint Robert Leftwich on the EDC board.
I have some difficulties with a man who cost the city over $400,000 denying a business to open up at the airport, and got entanglement with the FAA, and he has sued the city twice and has cost us close to another $100,000. And I don't see why you would reward someone who sues the city and causes financial hardship to the taxpayers in the tune now of over $500,000.
I would like to say that again, I understand you have personal feelings when it comes to Robert Leftwich.
I don't have any personal feelings for Robert Leftwich. You don't know me, and you don't know my soul. And don't you put any words in my mouth, Rini Perez.
I am not putting words.
You're being rude.
I'm not. I'm just standing up for a fellow
I'll go ahead
commissioner.
and second that motion.
Okay. We have a second to the motion. Is there any discussion? Well, all right, okay. I guess normally we do that. Did you have any board appointments?
No, I'm good.
All right, so the only board appointment is this one, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. All right, item 14, executive closed session regarding the following items. A, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, to consultation with legal counsel to receive legal advice and recommendation protected by the attorney-client communication privilege. and B, pursuant to Section 551.072 Government Code regarding the purchase and value of property for economic development and other purposes. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, there may be action on one of the items, and we'll come back after we're done consulting with our attorney. Thank you. Okay, we are out of executive session at 7:10, and we're going to go to item 15, which is consideration of possible action on item 14B as discussed in executive session. Is there a motion to authorize the city manager to proceed as discussed in executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're adjourned. Good night.